We continue now with our Belizeans across the world segment, and welcome to our show, Ms. Janine Sylvestre Vega, Belize's Honorary Consul General in Florida. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ms. Vega, kindly tell us a bit about the consulate services in Florida through your office.
Yeah, sure. We provide a full range of consular services to Belizeans, not only in Florida, but across the United States. That include passport services, emergency travel documents, and a wide range of other services. And it's a very challenging time right now that we had to suspend these services because they have come to rely on us a great deal, as in other consulates in the United States, New York, Chicago, LA, and Washington, D.C.
Okay, and do we have a lot of Belizeans out there in Florida?
We sure do. It's very difficult to know the exact number, but it's definitely over 10,000 or more Belizeans, and they are really pretty spread out between South Florida and Central Florida. So we try to keep them engaged with the consulate.
Okay. We know that there are over 15,000 confirmed cases in Florida, with at least 300 deaths when we last checked this afternoon. Miami-Dade County accounts for 1/3 of all of those cases, with over 5,000 cases and almost 50 deaths. You live in Miami, so I was curious as to how is Miami handling this pandemic and what measures have been put in place?
Yes, indeed. Between Miami-Dade County, which is where the consulate is housed, and Broward County, it accounts for 50% of all the deaths in the entire state of Florida. So it's very serious, seriously concentrated in those two counties. Florida has declared itself a state of emergency, and there's some strict curfews in all of South Florida, not only Miami-Dade County, but Broward and Palm Beach. So I think that has helped a great deal in bringing down or not having the numbers as spike as much as they would have under normal circumstances.
And do the authorities there also struggle with people who are not compliant with the measures?
Well, we had a challenge because the COVID-19 fell at the same time that there was spring break. So we had the spring breakers flood the Florida beaches as they do every year. And it was very difficult for the authorities to control that. But once they started enforcing the rules, it's like a ghost town really anywhere you go in South Florida. And I think that people are starting to take it very seriously because of the numbers that have fallen in cases and in deaths. You can't help but take it seriously.
And is Florida also overwhelmed by the amount of patients going to the hospitals, or is the healthcare system there? They have sufficient resources to attend to these patients who are just the numbers are just increasing and increasing?
I understand that they're stressed, but I also know that in some of the cities they're building hospitals to be able to alleviate the numbers that they're seeing. So I know that my husband is a physician and he's in the front line, and they are definitely stressed, and we have to give our thoughts and prayers to the nurses and the physicians and everybody that's in the front line, because while we can be at home, they have to get up every day and face this this invisible enemy, as they call it, not knowing, how to deal with it, just trying their best.
And with your husband being a frontline worker, what protocols do you have at home for when he gets home?
Well, he's very well trained, and so he comes home and it's normal for him to do the things that he does in his clinic, which is, wash your hands. Now it's been amped up a little more because of the COVID, but he takes off his shoes, he sanitizes his shoes at the door, and his work clothes go immediately into the washer. So there isn't a struggle, because he's already trained in that department.
And do you worry a lot about what he may be exposed to while at work?
Yeah, naturally, I'm concerned every morning that he leaves the house, but we have to hope for the best. It's his job, and he loves it. So you can't stop them from doing what they love.
Okay. We have seen that in New York, many Belizeans have contracted the virus, and several that we know of are literally fighting for their lives. This morning, we spoke to a Belizean in Chicago who is also ill. Are you aware of Belizeans being affected in South Florida or the other areas in Florida?
Andre, I reached out to the president of the Belize Association in Central Florida. His name is Jason Guild, and he's aware of some Belizeans, but with relatives in New York. Okay. I also reached out to the president of the Belize Association in South Florida, whose name is Philip Lopez. And he's not aware of any cases. Likewise, Ray Gongra, he's very prominent in the Belizean community and also not aware. So I am sure that there are some Belizeans, but we have to respect their privacy. If they reach out to us, then it's a different matter, and we're here for them for whatever reason. But we just wish them the best, and our thoughts and prayers are with them, because it has to be a struggle to be going through something like this.
And so in the event that we start seeing Belizeans in Florida turning up sick and the number increases, would your office be able to support them in any way?
Well, if I'm not sure, what other type of support that the community offers, that they need to get tested, they need to go to their hospital and get tested. If they want to communicate with a loved one in Belize, things like that, we can provide that kind of support to Belizeans. Our calls, while our office is closed, all calls are forwarded to our cell phones. So we are, taking calls every day. And so far, we have not received, that type of call from our Belizeans in the diaspora.
Okay. Well, Ms. Vega, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Do you want to leave our viewers with any final words?
Well, just that we are going through difficult days at this time, but better days will come. We do have to make sacrifices and adhere to all the regulations and the guidelines that our state or country, as in the case of Belize, is giving us, because it's really for our own good. And as we enter into this Easter weekend, I will be joining, myself and my family will be joining the Prime Minister and the Consul of Churches, who are requesting that Belizeans join them in 3 days of fasting and prayer. And it might be a challenge because we're used to celebrating Easter in our own way. but we must make some sacrifices for the better of all.
And luckily for Christians who celebrate their faith during this period, like you said, with the use of technology, they're able to do so in a slightly different setting, but they will be able to do so nonetheless.
That's right.
Well, thank you again very much, Ms. Vega. We hope you continue to keep safe there in Florida and keep us updated also.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And viewers, with that, we go for